Mostly in his native Colombia. 26 times he has fought in Colombia. 25-7-1 mark.
Oh.
Facebook. That's Facebook.
Oh, okay. Facebook,
Carrillo has, Nietes has that perfect style, especially if you're a little bit older fighter and you don't have the spring in your legs and the energy that you once had in your 20s and 30s. Just being economical and allowing your brain to get you through even more so than your physical body.
You know, one of the valuable things in boxing is to know where your opponent comes from. And Carrillo, he comes from Colombia, and the thing that comes to my mind, you know, in knowing different countries and styles is his punching power. You know, you can see how big his legs are. You can see him trying to sit down on that right hand. You know, he has knockout punching power.
42 wins over his first 38 years old, 23
Very nice.
for Nietes. Of course, when you think about the most accomplished Filipino fighters ever, and here we are with a guy who is a 4-division world champion, go no further than the great Manny Pacquiao, the only 8-division champion that the sport has ever had. Who started at flyweight. I think oftentimes people forget that Pacquiao started at flyweight. Nonito Donaire, Lasho Lordy, Garcia, who was a middleweight champion, Pancho Villa, all the way back in the 1920s, who also was a flyweight champion. But some of the great Filipino fighters through the years, and here today at 38 years old, you get a look, fight floor. Of course, Tim Bradley, you yourself are very popular among Filipino fighters with your fights with Pacquiao.
Para ma-support natin yung mga
Yes, sir. Any fighter comes from the Philippines, you know they're gonna bring this home, man. You know, they bring a high intensity work rate, and you know, they're looking for knockouts. They love the action.
Round 2 scheduled for 10. Julio Paras is our referee in Dubai. Nietes hasn't lost a bout since 2004, coming off a long playoff of 2 years and 3 months, but undefeated in his last 35 fights.
Dok, pwede ko paabot doon yung ano ni Coach Do, yung
vacated the IBF flyweight title
lalagay
that
niya.
he won in April 2017, then did the same with the WBC bantamweight title.
Yung pat niya, tripod. Yung tripod niya.
Edgar Gabihan. New York boy.
It's just an opportunity to rest those older bones, those muscles.
Okay lang, Gar.
Especially if that older
Boss lang New York boy.
stays in shape and is constantly working. Sometimes that layoff can be good, and it's not always a bad thing.
We're gonna find out
Yeah,
that answer here.
one of the things that you don't. That's one of the things that you, as an older fighter, you have a lot of experience. Nietes has a ton of experience, and you can see how savvy he is in that ring. You know, setting up the younger fighter in Carrillo.
Ngani, Dok? Wala naman ikuan.
Hindi ka tong iyak kay Coach.
Dok?
Pero,
Ano, Dok?
harap. Para makatanaw sila ng mga ayos. Sagit lang mga idol, ha.
We're trying to get that 1-2 going with easily blocked from Nietes.
Nice uppercut right there from Nietes. Carrillo, he sits down on that right hand. He's looking for the right hand constantly. That's his power shot. He either throws it straight, and sometimes he loops the shot as well.
Carrillo himself had a layoff for 20 fights. His last fight was August 2019. Coming to the end of round number 2 here. 4-division champ Nietes against Carrillo, and then we lead to our junior lightweight world championship fight.
Even? 1-1?
fight of the year opponent right now.
Higher. If I lose this fight, he's trying to become the first Irishman to be a 3-division world champion. And, you know, we've already talked about it earlier, and we're going to get into this more in our lead up to the main event. But there is so much to unwrap when it comes to how you view that fight, whether it's the strategy, whether it's the size, or even getting into the time zone change of this fight, or to the heat. This fight taking place in Dubai.
This is the whole fight.
10 time zone difference from where Herring trained in Colorado. And Frampton got to Dubai on March 16th, so he had over 2.5 weeks.
I watched him last 2 fights. He fought a guy that was the whole fight. Like, come on.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about the whole acclimation on the week. I think is long enough. I understand that Frampton got there a little bit sooner. He could feel a little bit more comfortable with the time change or time zone, but a fight is a fight. It doesn't matter. It's going to go on in the ring, and both guys need to go out there and put it out on their line.
Round 3 here between Nietes and Carrillo. And that last round, both men threw 34 punches. Carrillo landing 9, Nietes landing 8.
Complete ball.
That's what you want to do if you're a veteran.
Great fight.
You want to have the younger, eager fighter.
But he's 20 and 0, right?
Yeah, but that's like me going.
But where is Pacquiao from?
Colombia.
Don't matter.
Control that big right hand. He throws in, he has his counters, he disciplines him. This is the ideal first 2.5 rounds for the end. And if you're Carrillo, you can't play that game. You have to press the envelope when you want to press the envelope and rest when you want to rest. You can't play the old monumental game because you'll lose that.
Well, very interesting. Nietes, you know, is having his way early. I would think that Carrillo would have his way early, and Nietes would have
Mayong little ni
more of his
Nietes, no?
opportunity. But that's not the case right now. So things
Ang yang gwapo yan, ang mulingkod siya ba? Ang mulingkod anak siya, oh. Tapos upper kalit ba?
Yan, si Jeric.
Those are good shots right there from Carrillo.
Jeric Fernando.
See that half step back right there from Nietes? It's hard to catch that if you're at home, but that's a lot. That keeps a strong fighter like Carrillo guessing.
And a 3. And round co-feature before we get to the jackal as he tries to make history today. Taped up for his World Title Challenge going in 2014, was able to unify there as the IBF and WBA champion, won the featherweight championship.
Sira yung monopod natin mga idol.
2016 and 2017, and now here at 130 pounds. From the Irish Isle. CompuBox.
Good morning.
Tally this way at 28 to 22 advantage for Nietes as we begin round number 4.
Ivan.
Look, Mark.
Yung para sa akin na Ivan, ha. Double XL ako, Ivan.
I slept during the day and I stayed up all night. I didn't get acclimated.
Hindi na kasya yung damit mo sa akin.
My championship fight against Junior Witter. So all this acclimation stuff, whatever you guys talking about, man, listen to me. A fight is a fight. Period. Doesn't matter what time it is.
Bayaga Antonio Magbanwa.
See, it's very important for Carrillo right now to step up the tempo. That's what you need to do against Nietes. He's a vet. Step up the tempo. Make him fight at a higher pace, so that way you can wear him down. Make him make decisions and choices quickly. Bring the legs down. Beat on the body.
Nay na. Ikaw lagi, na? Oh, na.
Now an inside two-punch combination from Nietes, and Carrillo immediately fires back. Getting a little wide with that right hand.
Oh. Kanang kapoy yun ah.
Mapalian ng kuan ron.
Kanang anana niya, gugulti ka sa apiro niya, makita na sa
Tim, I think Carrillo needs to pick up that punch he just threw right there, not the right hand, but the jab, in order to let both hands go and pick up the pace, just like you said. That'll at least give him a half a second to grind the edges to let those shots go.
To this point, he's thrown 70 jabs and he's landed 10.
To your point, Dre, not only does he need to throw that jab to the head, he also needs to change levels with it and drop it downstairs if he wants to catch Nietes with that looping right hand that he's been looking for all night.
4 rounds complete between Nietes. First won a championship at 122 pounds, trying to do so at 130 pounds. Herring's 5'10". Frampton is 5'5", and of course Herring has the reach advantage as well. And that'll be something we focus in on right from the start in our world title fight that is coming up right after this co-feature between Nietes and Carrillo.
Live na mo, Jo? I-live na lang, itarong. Kasi save lang.
Masil pa.
Oh.
Nice.
Ayan,
Mahulog bin.
Trapped in the corner.
Baka maigo ba mo?
Carrillo made an attempt to attack.
Ano na yun, layat lang. Gulang na.
Hindi, tape.
1-2, utilizing the jab.
Gana na o.
Tipan mo. Tungkol sa kamot. O niya, mag-break.
Okay.
Tipan na lang.
No, Carrillo just does just enough to just compete. He don't do enough to win a fight. You know, the fight is here for him to win. You know, and I think that's been his issue. That's
nice.
Accumulated so many losses. Good right hand right there by Nietes.
Bago yung tatlo niya.
Oh no? Bago na?
May kayo mong gawa si Fan.
Malito yung bawal na siya na yung corner.
I just don't want to put the burden on Carrillo to jab more. I think Nietes can also jab more. He's very economical, like we've been saying. He likes to throw hard shots when he feels like he has you hurt and when he has a clean opening, but he can also have more success offensively if he uses more of the left hand.
I think sooner or later, Nietes is going to realize that Carrillo, he doesn't fight well going backwards. Anytime he will put pressure on him and throw combinations, you know, Carrillo gets himself out of position. Good hook right there.
Oh, abi na ko ba? Abi na ko na drogi ba kay nasabay sa iyang lihok ba?
As we come to the end of round number 5. Do want to show you what happened earlier.
Ratol yun. Uba na to, ratol na.
We saw Tersenbay Kabakman.
Yan po nakalaban ni Yumir dati. Yan ang nakalaban ni Yumir sa World.
154-pounder. And he
Yan.
scored a first round knockout of Haber.
Yan, tinalo yan ni Yumir.
Keyshawn Davis, the great American prospect, also was a winner on the undercard before we. Nietes has a 46-37 connect advantage according to CompuBox as we begin round number 6. (28-24) power punch edge as well, landing 36% of his power punches, is the 4-division world champion. That first title was won back in 2007. 105 pounds he won.
Larry Garicion from Camiguin Island. Shoutout. I-share nyo, idol. I-share para makanood po yung iba, yung sino nag-aantay sa laban ni Nietes. Sa mga nag-aantay ng laban ni Nietes, makanood sila dito, idol.
Continue to increase and some aren't. And I would say fundamentals. Nietes always has his hands in position. Even when he ducks down, you'll see him have that left guard above where his temple is and protecting his chin, looking over the guard, trying to look for a shot. His feet are always in the right position. And when you have good fundamentals and great fundamentals, you can go deep into a career, whereas a fighter who doesn't, who just depends on athleticism and speed and power, they tend to fall off a quick cliff and fall off rather quickly.
It also depends on the fighting style as well. As you can see, he's more of a boxer, counterpuncher style as well. If he's more of an aggressive fighter, then his years could be shortened.
I think he's aggressive in spots, Tim. I think he's right in front of you, but he's just crafty when he's in front of you.
And I don't think 38 is really old. You know, I'm 37. I'll be 38 this year. Mentally, I feel like I can do it, but physically, my body is not old. So I think it has a lot to do with your body, you know, how much you take care of your body outside of the ring, and also during your training camp.
Well, if the big buzz in boxing holds up and comes to fruition with signed contracts, we're going to be talking about another Filipino when it comes to how much age is a factor, and that is Manny Pacquiao at 42 years old. So many reports this week of the talks of a Pacquiao-Crawford welterweight showdown. That would be June 5th, about an hour away from where the fights are coming to you today. That would be in Abu Dhabi. We'll see if that comes to fruition.
Tess, anytime you say the name Manny Pacquiao, I don't think about age.
You think about Rolexes, Tim. You think about Rolexes is what you think about.
Many Teslas.
No, I just think age is not a factor. That guy is special. He's a special fighter.
Well, this would be the ultimate test to find out how special Pacquiao is, as his fellow countryman is in control here, coming to the end of round number 6. Nietes in control against Carrillo, but the reports this week, multiple reports, that Pacquiao and Crawford are deep into negotiations for a fight that would be June 5th as a pay-per-view in the Middle East. The all-time great 8th division champion who almost it'll be almost 2 years if he does step into the ring on June 5th, since when he defeated Keith Thurman. That was his last fight. He did not fight during the pandemic year of 2020, of course, we just saw. But
this is the fight that I believe that could catapult Terence Crawford's career. This is what he needs. He needs this type of recognition and notoriety. If he can beat a guy, a legend like Manny Pacquiao, then without question, he's the man.
Dre, obviously everybody wants to see an Errol Spence fight, but in listening to the two fighters recently, you know, there's little hope that we get that in the near future. We can hope. As big of a fight as that would be, and that would be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, fight that you could make in boxing, one of the biggest events that the sport can produce would actually be this, Pacquiao-Crawford. There's a big difference between a great match, a great bout, and a big event. This would be a big event.
Of course, I mean, again, because Manny Pacquiao is associated with it, and you have my pound for pound #1 fighter in the world associated with it, so of course it's going to be a big matchup. And boxing is just strange like that. Like I for whatever reason, we're not getting Spence Crawford, but if Errol Spence wins another title against Ugas, and he's got 3 out of the 4 belts, and Terence Crawford takes care of business against Manny Pacquiao, all of a sudden, that fight's going to seem a lot more doable than it is right now.
Yeah, coincidentally, that title that Ugas would have is because the WBA has put Pacquiao as the champion in recess. If you want to follow along all the plot twists of the alphabet soup organizations. Round 7 here, halfway through. Nietes has been controlling things, the 4-division world champion, who is coming off a long layoff. Last fight was December of 2018 on the vacant WBO Junior Bantamweight World Championship then. Had a 12-round split decision against Kazuto Ioka. 17-year pro, very popular among the Filipino fight fans. This is his first fight in the Middle East. 37 times he has headlined as the main event.
Goy! Oh!
The former champion, 37 times he has been the main event fighter.
Rogi,
Get in there,
Remember,
Donnie.
at the end of this 10-round co-feature, we will get right to the World Championship fight between Carl Frampton and Jamel Herring. Wide streak just wrong.
May magpabitin ba, no?
I think sooner or later,
Huh?
Nietes is going to realize that Carrillo can't fight well going backwards. He's pressuring now.
Anong upang delikado sa kalaban? Wala na ibantayan na yun.
Just let the guy come back to the ground. Come on.
Boom!
Here, Jesse Porras Piata in the corner of Carrillo, encouraging him to do it like that and then like that. But that was a big round for Nietes.
Who's the trainer? New?
There is the champ,
New?
Jamel
New
Semperfly Herring.
New
At
trainer?
35 years today, a win against a fighter like Carl Frampton
Yeah.
would
Guys,
be the
big, just look like
career-defining milestone
Just stay out
that
here.
he wants.
We'll find out here pretty soon.
Last time we saw Herring was against Jonathan Akendo. It was back in September, won by DQ, but the way he finished up that night created a lot of questions as to what we will see tonight. Of course, he's dealt with so much recently. Everybody's had to lay off the sport with positive. And then the delays to this World Championship fight. Wait is over. Frampton and Herring just moments away.
You saw Nietes open up with both hands and be more aggressive than we've seen him this whole fight, and that's what he does. He's sort of like a knuckleballer in baseball. He'll just keep chipping away, a little bit here, a little bit there, and when he lands that shot, you'll see him open up and try to finish the show. He couldn't do it against Carrillo, credit to him, but you better believe that Nietes is looking for that big shot once again in these next 2.5 rounds.
What are the shots that he's looking for?
Well,
Dre, is the
Paulay
left hooks.
Nietes.
You know, I see beautiful uppercut. See, the uppercut is a dangerous shot because it comes from the bottom up. You don't see it. You know, you're used to seeing hooks coming around and right hands coming around, but you just don't see the uppercut come right up the middle.
But Carrillo's game.
Ang makakuan kaya niya ang puntos.
Nice little piece.
Sige, maugit as git iya ba no Nietes ano?
Yeah, Carrillo is walking straight forward. Nietes just met him with punches.
Mana sa patrasan dyan? Kabalong daw na si Jabir. Daw na si Jabir.
Jabir nga David Pataka.
Good positioning inside from the edges. Gets hit with a shot. He makes the adjustment. He rolls to the side. He rolls back. Hands are in position. And he's looking for a shot. He didn't have one, so he resets. Beautiful.
May
Even though he got hit with the
May maglikay-likay ba?
Combination
Oh,
on the
may
inside.
wala na ano?
It's good upper body movement, even at close range. Division world champion.
He won the last 2 rounds.
Op.
And they go 6 more minutes of
Start.
Nietes and
Kapoy na
Carrillo
Nietes ba?
as the 4-division champion makes his return.
Huh?
And then it is Jamel. He won by DQ. Look at that right eye. He was cut over the right eye with a clash of heads against Jonathan Akendo. in the 5th round. It worsened, and then you see the fight being called. There was some controversy. There needed to be some clarity as to what was going on. And in that 8th round, when Herring is saying, I can't go on any longer.
When a guy submits, and you know, this time around, you got to understand that Frampton is going to try to take him to that place. He's going to try to take him to that place of submission. He's going to use roughhouse tactics, get in the inside. And I assure you that Mac has went over in the gym with Jamel Herring over and over about how to defend against anybody attacking with their head. So I'm not really worried about it tonight, Tess, at all. I think he's going to be just fine. I think he's going to have the proper distance to face Jamel Herring. And face Paul Frampton, and I think he does well tonight.
Pisado lang yan, Nietes.
Bukat.
Di lang matiming ba?
Oh.
Pisado lang Nietes.
Last 2 rounds. Kwanta lang.
Nietes has pretty much tamed Carrillo to fight the fight that he wanted to fight. In fact, I think it's been the whole way through, but I think it's very, very evident right now that Carrillo is tamed. He's a very tough fighter, so he's going to keep throwing, but good shot from Nietes. I don't see Carrillo trying to land shots that he's setting up. He's just sort of surviving.
Bantay na.
Opening bell, Carrillo's just been fighting at this pace outside. I mean, I think
Oh, tiraon sa ano? Oy, di tiraon.
Smother him, get close, beat on him anywhere you can. Slow this man down. Don't give him any chance to think.
Mas kamot. Dito man sa sa dulo ang na.
The right uppercut again on Nietes. Very sneaky.
Nice.
Now Carrillo's getting real aggressive and he's leaning just a tad bit over the front knee. That's why you're seeing Nietes looking for the uppercut. So he's a veteran.
Let's show you what's coming up in the future weeks on Top Rank on ESPN. On ESPN on May 22nd. That is a spectacular fight. Total fighting on ESPN that night. 10th and final round here between Nietes and Carrillo.
It's hard to judge him. Like,
For me, I think.
no, I agree. I'm the same.
I heard about touching gloves.
Panalo na Nietes.
Done it in the last round.
Daming solid na.
That's a lot.
Sounds like a little too much respect for you, Tim. Ace picks up here from Carrillo.
That's what happens when you're facing a master. And all of a sudden you realize that you've been taken to school, you've been taught, you've been educated. You can't do anything but give respect, and that's what Carrillo's doing right now. It's a different type of beating. You know, some would say, oh, that's too strong of a word, but is it really? When you have a fighter in Nietes who's taking away your greatest strength, but he exploits all your weaknesses, and he's not fighting the way he looks on paper. He's not fighting his age, or he's not fighting, the amount of miles that he has in his odometer. He just seems to fight younger, smoother, sharper, and he's smarter than what one may think, and that's what Carrillo has understood the hard way in this fight.
Oh,
That's experience. That's great timing
That's experience.
by the former
Experience,
champion
sir.
Nietes.
Exactly.
Four-time world champion.
He should be like 48-0, but he had lost that one
See,
fight.
Nietes wins more fights with his
Yeah.
brains, his IQ,
Donnie, he
and
lost
his
only one,
experience
but
than he
it was, like,
does
very,
any
very
physical
early.
gift that he has. And I never wanted to get to this point. I always wanted to keep
What is
the
record
IQ and the physical gifts in line together. But it's a beautiful thing to see a fighter go at an age when they can still control a
He
young
was like his
man.
third fight he lost.
You know who was really good at that, Drake, was Bernard Hopkins. He was great at that. Yeah. He beat everybody with his mind. That's why he stayed in the business a long time.
Okay, gamin lang. 1 minute. Nice. Okay, taas gamin lang.
Donnie
nice,
knows how to
nice
swing
upper, nice
without
upper.
getting wet.
Nice upper.
He does a little bit of everything, right? Drake, a little bit of everything. He can come forward. He boxing from the outside off the back foot. Stepping to the side, stepping around, going down to the body.
Nice.
I like what I'm seeing from him. Yeah.
Timing the right hand there.
Nice,
The
nice.
key is in the eyes. For Nietes, he's just always looking at the target. Even in the midst of being under fire, his eyes are always locked in on the target.
Wag na, dog na.
Never out of position, or rarely out of position.
Up. Laukod talaga. Teaching guys. Ano? Yes!
Ah,
Good job.
tama.
Fighting for the first time in 2 years and 3 months, vacated the WBO junior bantamweight title that he had won in December of 2018. 38 years old, and soon enough he
Lang.
look this way. As you see, the percentage of power punches superior out of Nietes,
Kampyo box.
and 23% overall as well.
Kampyo box natin.
Panalo na si Nietes.
On seeing the 4-division world champion here in Dubai.
It's a Dynamo.
Yes, he impressed me tonight. You know, he started off real slow, very patient, placing his shots, very accurate, right there with his right hand. You know, Nietes, even though he's a little bit older, he's very crafty inside the ring. You know, and a younger fighter,
My God, ba?
you know, had no answers. You know, you gotta learn how to fight from every position. You gotta learn how to fight going backwards, going forward, going to the side. You gotta learn the sweet science of boxing. And as you can see, to take away all of this man's strengths and win easily.
Billy Joel, sir.
He's the blueprint for any older fighter that still wants to continue.
Wow.
Compete older in
Bagong
age.
belt, oh.
But he didn't get all of this overnight. This is years and years and years of working fundamentals, working basics, and becoming a
Next fight, world champion ulit.
world champion. And I'm looking forward to more from him at 115.
Referee Kovacs calls them in.
Oh, namatay na.
Yes.
Oh, it's sketchy. The sound went off.
Judge Budai scored it 96.
Shout out kita mga Ivan.
Judge Budai scored it 98
Matik, ikaw
to
pa.
92.
98-92.
Judge Enyedi 99 to 91.
Wow.
Whoa.
We have a unanimous decision.
Nietes.
Nietes.
And we can confirm that the new WBO International Super Flyweight Champion is
Donnie.
Donnie Nietes! Right now, the future is right in front of us to determine a big piece.
Next fight, World Championship for Nietes, WBO.
Frampton, Jamel Herring is coming your way.
Walang kakumpas-kumpas.